Well, we've got details of these and many more coming up in the next 20 minutes if you spend your time with me. Remember, we are live on DSTV channel 279. Let's begin with some issues regarding the intermittent power outages. Because a 24-year-old mother is blaming the Tema General Hospital for the death of her child at the neonatal unit during a power outage. But hospital authorities have denied the claim, indicating that the unit has an automatic standby generator that provides power during the national grid outage. My colleague Joseph Armstrong has the rest of the story.
Na general hospital baby ayewo. Enye ya den say na me ba on wood da no be won the first way na mo the light out mo ni aka crack away aka say we nti mo ni find solution bi am be so light am nkola no on be survive kun kola ne keke.
I was supposed to go and visit my child around 4 a.m. this morning. So when I went there, I couldn't find my child and the doctor told me to wait outside. So I was outside and he came that they are sorry because I've lost my child due to the light out last night.
The hospital is experiencing power outages causing dissatisfaction among nursing mothers, patients and family members. During the visit, the light suddenly went off.
The light system was here is bad. They give 3 minutes, they off it. I mean, the way they off the light off here is too much.
But they have genset that comes on.
Oh, look, the gens only here and here, the gens work. But apart from this side and this place, emergency, that place, apart from this side, there's no generator here.
Despite the hospital's generator sets, certain departments, including the maternity block, training center, post-delivery ward and OPD, are unable to be powered. The neonatal care unit had light, but a nurse on duty confirmed to us the situation wasn't the same when the light went off the previous day. Pregnant women in the antenatal unit face longer review times due to equipment requiring electrical power. The administrator of the Tema General Hospital, Apostle Dr. Samuel Obin Mensah, although declined to speak to the news team on camera, said he's yet to be briefed on whether a baby died or not. He also confirmed although the hospital has generators, the capacity is not enough to power the entire hospital.
This is a post-delivery ward. The heat in here due to the light out is unbearable. The babies here just cannot stand it. Joseph Armstrong, Good and TV3, Tema General Hospital.
Meanwhile, the Ashanti Regional Health Director, Dr. Emmanuel Tinkrine, says it is time a national dialogue was held to come up with a policy on how health facilities would settle their bills with no additional cost to the already overburdened patient. He was speaking on the sidelines of the 2023 annual performance review of the Ghana Health Service in the Ashanti region.
Time for everybody to bear. And it's the patients who are suffering. It's the patient who is in incubator. It's the patient who is being operated. You see, we need to focus on the people and not on the money. You see, so for me, my belief is that nobody should go and disconnect any electricity in any hospital. The government will need to sit down with Ministry of Health, because as it is right now, the facilities themselves will not be capable of paying full cost of electricity in this country. And that is what I think the authorities should understand. Because if I'm to use Okomfanoti as an example, as at now, they are supposed to pay 27 million. That 27 million is to be paid by those who are purchasing the service. And meanwhile, if you put the additional cost on the patient cannot bear those costs. You see, so either the government decides to pay or put the cost on the patients, and it cannot sustain the insurance. You see, so we don't have any cost. The only reason why we believe that the government should intervene is that the facilities as it exists right now will not be capable of paying full electricity bill in this country.
And now the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, failed to release a load shedding timetable in compliance with a directive by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC. The commission had earlier warned it will impose sanctions if the power distributor fails to comply with its orders. As at the deadline of March 27, 2024, a timetable had not been published by the ECG. Here's a News Desk report.
The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission had earlier issued a litany of orders with clear timelines it expected the power distributor to comply with. Key amongst them included an order from ECG to submit details of actual revenue collected under the cash waterfall mechanism. The committee will then approve the revenue allocation percentage and the respective amount based on the net revenue collected. A statement issued by PURC indicates ECG has so far complied with these orders, which were to be fulfilled by March 25. PURC, however, notes that the committee is in the process of ensuring that ECG makes payments to the energy sector players along the electricity value chain. Once this is completed, the Commission will then validate all payments made to ensure it is consistent with the agreed formula. ECG was meanwhile handed up until close of March 27 to release the load shedding timetable to the public. This is yet to be complied with.
Well, we'll still continue to follow up on developments regarding the intermittent power outages and update you in our subsequent bulletins. And now let's talk legal matters. The Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, insists the Supreme Court cannot be blamed for taking too long to deal with cases considered political while others receive the court's immediate attention. She made this comment when the court heard and dismissed the injunction application against approval of ministerial nominees. Lord Iduasare reports.
Member of Parliament for South Dai, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekpo, had filed an injunction seeking to restrain Parliament from vetting and approving new ministers, as well as reshuffled ministers given various portfolios. He was praying the court to deem the action by President Akufo-Addo as unconstitutional. But when the case was called, the South Dai MP together with his lawyer, Nikpapo Samoa-Addo, were both absent. Events took an interesting turn when the five-member panel, chaired by the Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, stood down the hearing for about 10 minutes to ascertain the details of documents submitted by the court bailiff. The bailiff had indicated that in his quest to serve court processes to the Speaker of Parliament and Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekpo, he was refused service. Joshua Benning narrated to the court that a hearing notice and affidavit in opposition documents which were sent to the law firm of representatives of Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekpo were rejected because an order had been made by the lawyer Nikpapo Samoa-Addo not to receive any service. The Chief Justice then ordered for the hearing of the case to progress after the bailiff confirmed that the Speaker of Parliament had duly been served and he had also left the court documents at the premises of the plaintiff's law firm. Attorney General Godfrey Dame then described actions by the plaintiff's lawyer as the highest form of disrespect to the Apex Court and as professional misconduct, and called for the dismissal of the suit. Responding to the suit, Thaddeus Sori, counsel for the Speaker of Parliament, also opposed the injunction application, explaining it did not satisfy the requirements for an injunction to be granted. Ruling on the matter, the Apex Court dismissed the injunction application by Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekpo with the reason that the suit was against minister nominees whose names have not been submitted. The Chief Justice then took the opportunity to address some recent concerns about the court taking too long to deal with political cases. She explains parties tend to file cases and fail to follow through with it, adding that the court cannot be blamed.
Pleased with the outcome of the Apex Court decision, Attorney General Godfrey Dame shut down assertions that the Supreme Court picks and chooses which cases should take precedence on hearing.
Back in the days, if we file an application in the Supreme Court of Ghana, it takes even 3 months for you to have a date for hearing. It is only after a party has made an application for an expeditious determination of the process that the matter will come up for hearing. And indeed, in the record, we show that this particular case, for the record, it must be indicated that I specifically applied for an expeditious determination of the matter. I applied for an expedited hearing of the application.
The Attorney General meanwhile says he expects Parliament to approve the nominees as soon as possible.
Lord Iduasare, TV3 News, Supreme Court.
And now, following the decision of the Supreme Court, there are questions about how Parliament will approve the President's nominees when the House is on recess. The following report takes a look at the knock-on effect of the judiciary's decision on Parliament.
8 substantive ministers and 11 deputy ministers have not taken office due to the hold-up on the approval process. That being a direct consequence of the therefore between the President and Parliament over the anti-LGBTQ bill.
Injunction motion on notice seeking to restrain the Speaker from proceeding with the vetting and approval of the names of the persons submitted by His Excellency the President until the provisions of the Constitution are satisfied. In the light of this process, the House is unable to continue to consider the nominations of His Excellency the President.
As Parliament is on recess, a process has to be triggered to get the House back in session to approve these nominees. This is set out in Article 112(3) of the Constitution. Order 53 of the Rules Book of Parliament gives similar indication as to the process required to trigger a recall of the House. In view of the numbers in Parliament, not less than 42 signatures are required to get the Speaker to recall the House to consider this business. If the House is constituted to approve the nominees, a skillful display of parliamentary collaboration and cross-party support will be required. This is because, with the demise of the late Ejoso MP Dr. John Kuma, the majority and minority in Parliament have the same number of MPs. A vote that results in a tie will be deemed as lost. With just a simple majority required to pass the ministers and deputy ministers designate, the job of the government whips and the opposition benches is clearly cut out. Duke Bento Poku, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, if you just tune in, you're watching the first news bulletin of the day on TV3 right here on New Day. In more news this morning, the court shift system, which was expected to take effect on Monday, March 25, is yet to start in some of the courts. Some judges and registrars say they are yet to put in the necessary structures in order to start the full implementation, hopefully after the Easter holidays. The Judicial Service of Ghana has introduced a court shift system to help clear the backlog of pending cases across the country. A statement issued by the Judicial Secretary, Pamela Cranton, to some selected 8 courts indicated that some courts across the country have over 600 pending cases. The intention of the court shift system, therefore, according to the Judicial Secretary, is to reduce the backlog. The system will have 2 shifts this morning from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. and the afternoon session from 2 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Well, let's also know what you make of stories that have been aired so far, especially on the intermittent power outages that has caused the death of a baby at the Tema General Hospital. Just go onto our social media platforms, TV3 Ghana, particularly Facebook, because we are live. Engage us, and we'll surely read your comments and share them to the rest of the world. Away from that, 3 police officers have been confirmed dead in an accident at Chichere on the Suhum-Bonso stretch of the Accra-Kumasi Highway. The deceased are said to be among police convoy deployed on Wednesday to the Kwewu Enclave for the 4-day National Paragliding Festival, expected to start on Friday, March 29. According to an eyewitness, the vehicle, after skidding off the highway, plunged into the bush. The bodies were earlier deposited at the Sum Government Hospital morgue before being conveyed to Accra. A very sad one there, if you ask me. Away from that, government has declined to negotiate with the striking teachers due to their refusal to call off their week-long industrial action. Director of Grievances and Negotiations at the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Professor Charles Adabo, made this known at a media briefing in Accra.
If indeed they are able to call off the strike, we are ever ready as a government team to meet them even today or tomorrow. Thank you very much.
No, but were you disappointed with them not calling off the strike?
Obviously, you were there yesterday. Indeed, NLC is a state institution mandated to do such engagement. And therefore, if they have given the directive that call off the strike so that negotiations can also continue and teacher unions not obliging, I think that clearly is something that is surprising to us.
And now, protesters who sought the Finance Ministry's attention for the release of their locked-up funds in 4 finance houses and savings and loans companies were denied access despite the minister's assurance to grant them audience. Members of the Locked-Up Investment Holders Forum had earlier engaged the Bank of Ghana governor to assist them redeem their investments.
Of the Locked Up Investment Holders Forum have been collaborating with the Bank of Ghana since last year to initiate redemption processes for investment from financial houses and savings and loans companies. The group, however, blamed the central bank, accusing it of lack of good faith and urgency in their situation.
Bank of Ghana can revoke them the licenses today, provided government has made resources available to pay these investors, because we don't want the license to be revoked and tell investors that we should go and sit somewhere without getting our money. We want to make sure that once you revoke the license, you pay us as you pay the other people in 2017 and 2018.
They were not successful in petitioning the finance minister.
We came here and the security people are saying there is no minister here. The minister didn't come or is not in. I asked, deputy, no deputy. I asked, I know there is another 2 deputies. Nobody is there. Any director, no director is there. Anybody that without all this hierarchy, even the last person that we can speak to, so that when the minister comes, she or she will also give the message to the minister. They say there is nobody there to have the meeting with us. A whole ministry. There is unfortunate because I brought the letter. And if the minister was not going to be available, he should have arranged. That's how we manage organizations. Pure, simple administration.
They insist they will continue with their picketing every fortnight until their matter is resolved.
So it is a simple call from these people who have their funds locked with these institutions. They want the finance ministry to give the Bank of Ghana the assurance that they will make funds available if the BOG goes ahead to collapse these institutions because they have become insolvent. Grace Hamwa Ajiman, TV3 News, Accra.
And now let's do some politics. Independent presidential aspirant Alan Tremantin has pledged to renegotiate unfavorable agreements with multinational and foreign companies to ensure greater benefits for Ghanaians. The founder of the Movement for Change, during a dialogue with the Trade Union Congress in Accra, stated his ability to transform the country's fortunes within 4 years. Take a listen.
Tremantin proposed strategies to build Ghana using strategic anchor industries.
Developing new strategic anchor industries. When people start talking about the fact that Ghana can change in the next 10 years, I know they don't know what they are talking about. 3 to 5 years, Ghana will become a different country. Vehicle assembly and component manufacturing, garments and textiles. Bangladesh earns over $30 billion every year just by sewing clothes and exporting them. You are still worshipping, you get $2 billion from cocoa and you are satisfied.
He advocated for the consolidation of all corruption-related provisions in existing legislations.
You must have the political will to fight corruption and take decisive action against people who are corrupt. Isolate all corruption-related provisions in existing legislation and consolidate them in one enabling legislation with a clear definition of corruption. Right now, you have many laws that are designed to deal with corruption. It doesn't work that way.
The Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Anthony Yalba, recommended robust policies to ensure optimum use of the country's resources.
God, in His wisdom, has given us all the resources this country needs to develop. We have no reason why Ghana should be poor. What we have observed, that the resources that we have here in Ghana are benefiting foreigners more than they are benefiting Ghanaians. The reason is we have politicians and leaders who are ready to compromise the interests of Ghana, and they sign bad agreements.
The dialogue underscored the need to tackle economic issues and implement strategies to to enhance living standards and economic stability in Ghana.
Well, on that note, we end the morning news. For more news updates, you'd want to log on to our website, s3news.com. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Enjoy your morning.